more famous poltergeist is one that's in a house called the Castle, which was the John Johnson home in Beaufort, South Carolina. And one of the stories with that is that a member of Jean Ribault's crew that was left behind here at a place called Charlesfort on Paris Island was either executed or left behind by the French when they evacuated the area in 1562. And that his spirit sort of roamed around the islands and the region here until he found something that reminded him of France. And he saw this house that was built in the 1850s that you could say looked a bit like a small French chateau. And he inhabited this house. No adults can see it. Supposedly only children can see this spirit. But again, it's sort of a poltergeist type of spirit. It moves furniture and closes doors and such.
And you had what you call a root doctor, and that could have been a woman or that could have been a man. It didn't make no difference. But one or two of the most famous one we had around here was Dr. Buzzard. And he from right here off the island, St. Helena Island. And then you had somebody called the Judge. Now, most people know him as Dr. Eagle, but when I grew up, I know him as the Judge. He used to live right across the street from me. And they tell me him and Judge McTeer, Sheriff McTeer, they used to call him Sheriff, they used to call him High Sheriff, Sheriff McTeer. I've been the white root doctor around here. And say he been powerful too. They tell me in 1882 they had over 10,000 colored people come from all over. They come by, they would come by train, they come by ride on the horse and buggy and thing. They come by foot, they come by steamship to come to Beaufort. And that's when Dr. Eagle would have the biggest business then. Because everybody that would get to Beaufort once a year come and get their supply of root for the rest of the year.
Premature burial was not actually uncommon in the 1800s and earlier. An English doctor in the early 1800s was doing a research project and interviewing some of his fellow physicians. What he discovered was that there were nearly, in 1 year, 150 cases of actual premature burial. Inventors jumped on the bandwagon. They came up with coffin alarms where the bell would attach to the stone, the chain would go down through the ground into the coffin and wrap around the deceased's finger. You can only imagine the fright of the caretaker if he heard that go off in the middle of the night. Beaufort resident, Dr. Perry, his burial crypt is at St. Helena's Episcopal Church, and he made a very unique request. Considering that he was a physician, he had heard all the stories. So Dr. Perry requested of his friends that once he died, he be buried in the above-ground mausoleum with a pickaxe, a jug of water, and a loaf of bread, just in case.
On St. Helena Island, down Seaside Road and thing, and you keep going there, you get the Lands End. And down there in Lands End, it used to be, say, every time you go down there and you go late at night, all of a sudden this mysterious light would appear. And the legend was that the light come from an old soldier that had his head cut off during the Civil War. And that light you see is the lining for his body looking for your head. Now, I ain't never go down there myself, because I say, if that way it say, I won't see nobody to look for no head around here. So you ain't never see me go, that's just what they say. I ain't know if it's true. I ain't never been there for see if it's true, and I ain't planning for go there to see if it's true.